Hello, everybody. Today we have to talk about Spain because Spain is about to make the mistake of its lifetime. So, the person you see here in the picture, if you don't know him, he is the Prime Minister of Spain. I believe his name is Pedro Sanchez. Pedro Sanchez is the leader of the Spanish Socialist Worker Party. So, they are in power together with the Sumar Party. Now, what sets both of these parties apart is that they are against nuclear. So I've made this summary over here for you, so you can look at what is going on in Spain. Then we have three opposition parties. The People's Party, they are in favor of nuclear energy. Vox, they appear to be the far right populist movement. They are also in favor of nuclear, but they're also in favor of fossil fuels, which I don't agree with. And then I hope that I pronounce this correctly. If I don't want to offend my Spanish viewers. Ciudadanos, the citizens. So they are basically a liberal party, and liberal in and liberal in Europe doesn't mean liberal like it means in the U.S. In Europe, liberal generally means market liberalism. So they want to have a free market. That's basically what it means. So let's take a look. I mean, why am I making this video right now? So over here you can see a protest. These are the workers that work at the Almaraz nuclear power plant, and they are protesting the planned closure of their nuclear power plant. So what's going on? The current government, or maybe it was the previous government, I don't know. In any case, the Spanish government decided that they wanted to phase out nuclear, and they made this decision in 2023. And the Almaraz nuclear power plant is the oldest nuclear power plant in operation in Spain today. So they are planning to close the Almaraz nuclear power plant in 2027. And obviously, these people disagree. And I think that they are completely right because they still have a long way to go in Spain before they can actually say that they have decarbonized. And if we look back at this over here, then we can see that the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, they really want to do the decarbonization thing, and they really want to meet EU climate goals. So trying to meet EU climate goals and transitioning away from nuclear are not compatible. It's that simple. Germany is showing us that it's not compatible. Belgium is showing us that it's also not compatible. Uh, Sweden has, Sweden is still, they rue the day that they decided that they wanted to close Barsebäck because of pressure from the Danes, basically. Because they used to have two beautiful boiling water reactors in the southwest of Sweden, and they closed them because who knows? And now Spain is going down the same path. So what we see is this really weird movement in Europe, where we have Germany, and Germany is really important at this moment. I'm going to make another video about Germany soon because Germany is, I mean, they are the showcase. They have taught us why not to close nuclear power plants, right? And they are really steering their ship with the bow first towards some giant block, some giant chunk of ice that's in the middle of the ocean. You can go past the chunk of ice to the left or to the right, doesn't matter. But what Germany does is they just say, "Oh, there's a huge iceberg over there, full steam ahead," and it's quite possible that they're going to double down after the next elections, which are going to be in a couple of weeks. If they decide that they want to keep the Greens in power, even though the Greens have never been the biggest party in Germany, then then Germany is setting itself up for disaster. And in the worst case, it's going to drag the rest of us down with it. The Netherlands, Poland, the Danes, Switzerland, Austria, France, maybe, Belgium, quite certainly. So, fighting for nuclear, fighting for some sanity in this energy debate is really necessary. And these people are showing us, listen, don't close our nuclear power plant. It's not worth it. And here's the reason why. So the energy mix in Spain, right? Oil 3.3%. Then we get oh wait a second, no, sorry, coal 4.5 terawatt hours in 2023. Oil 9.5 terawatt hours in 2023. Natural gas 64 terawatt hours. Nuclear 57 terawatt hours. Hydro 31. And we have wind 64, solar 43 terawatt hours. So in total, they produce, they produce roughly 1.5 times the amount of electricity that is being, well, so what you see is that this, so what you see is that in Spain they use, uh, uh, so what you see is that in Spain they use quite a bit of electricity, right? It's not, it's not. So what you see is that the people in Spain, they use a lot of electricity, and they still use a lot of natural gas. So like, let's say roughly a quarter of their electricity mix is still fossil fuels. Roughly half of their electricity mix is renewables. Let's let's clap for these people because they have added a substantial amount of renewables without burning out their system, which is, it's commendable. And they still have, roughly 20% of nuclear. So why not basically say, okay, we're going to expand our nuclear into the natural gas part? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see countries doing. Okay, let's build out nuclear so we can reduce our usage of natural gas with like 5%. Let's do that within the next 10 years. And then, 5 years after that, we can reduce our natural gas by another 5%. And then 5 years after that, we can reduce natural gas by, let's say that by then, 75% of all the natural gas electricity production has been cut by that time. That is entirely feasible when you see this. But for some reason, the Spaniards, they think that they can do without nuclear while they are still using natural gas. So again, they have their behind in front and their front behind, and they've got things mixed up all together, and it's just a mess. So what I'm going to show you right now is a picture of one of those nuclear power plants that they've already demolished. Right? I'm not going to try to pronounce this name because for me it's almost unpronounceable. But the reason why I wanted to share you this is because personally I believe that nuclear power stations don't have to be ugly. A lot of people think that nuclear power stations are ugly. I don't think that nuclear power stations have to be ugly. And one of the things that I think is nice about this nuclear power station is that they actually colored their dome. I said that I would like to see nuclear power plants have their own livery or livery. I don't know how to pronounce it, but in essence, it means have their own color code. Have their own. Uh, let's say give them a bit of personality, right? And this nuclear power plant with the I don't know what color it is. It's like orange, reddish, brownish, right? It's somewhere in between those colors. I mean, it's such a nice color. So it's a shame that this nuclear power plant has been demolished completely. So I can't show it to you on the map, but I have prepared a map for you today. So what you can see over here, the yellow place markers, those are natural gas plants. The red place markers are either oil, biomass, or coal, because I always say that they are red. Black ones are closed coal-fired power plants. So that's a thing that Spain is actually doing well. I have to commend them for that. The purple ones, those are the demolished nuclear power plants. And the blue ones, those are the nuclear power plants. And then finally, we have the green ones over here. That's the hydro electricity stations. Now, what I wanted to show you is first a little bit of the wind industry, right? Because they have a pretty strong wind industry in Spain. So what you can see over here is this is one of those I don't know. Is it a key? Is I always wonder what happens inside these buildings. Are these the buildings that produce the wings for the windmills? Maybe I don't know. There's some stuff lying outside, and in any case, they park all these windmill components outside over here. So what you can see over here clearly, these are nacelles, right? These are the nacelles. Then over here you have the wings. And then over here, I don't know what you call this. This is like the hub. Is it the hub? So these are hubs, right? These are hubs. So three wings per hub. That's what you can see over here. Then over here, you can see all these pylons waiting to be transported to the place where they are installed. Then more stuff over here, wings. And then over here, you can see a ship. And this ship is going to transport these pylon sections to the place where the offshore wind farm is built, and where the components need to be. So one of the things that I want to make clear is that personally I dislike wind farms a lot, right? I don't think that wind is worth the effort. We have had dark doldrums for the past 2 weeks where I live. Really, it was overcast for 2 weeks. It was ice cold. There was zero wind, and there was no sun. And all of us over here in northwestern Europe, I say all of us, but a lot of us, we heat our homes with natural gas. We heat our water with natural gas. The drinking water, the water that we shower in. Plus, there is no solar, there is no wind, so all the gas power plants and all the coal fired power plants have been churning out electricity like crazy the past couple of weeks. And no matter how many windmills you build, it doesn't matter. You're going to need something else to pick up the slack. And that's why I dislike windmills with a passion. Now, what I do like is this stuff over here. The industrial stuff, the bones of it. That's what I like. So that's what I want to show you today. So over here, this is another one of these places where you can see a lot of stuff going on. For those who don't know, these truss structures over here, these are also support structures for the offshore windmills, right? So these are basically this is basically what you put on the sea floor, and then you get this huge pylon, and then you get this platform, and then you get another pylon, and then eventually you have a wind farm. But this over here, I believe that this used to be a shipyard of sorts, but now they've basically repurposed it to build these truss contraptions over here, which are required to build those wind farms. This is also interesting. What I wanted to show you over here is this is a liquid natural gas carrier. Now, why it is here, maybe it needs maintenance or something like that, because you can see a dry dock right next to it. So that was one of the things that I wanted to highlight about this place. And then over here, also interesting. So this is also heavy industry. Here they make certain alloys. So that's pretty interesting. And there was another big industrial area in the north of Spain that I wanted to show you. So here we have Gijon, and over here in Gijon, this is very interesting. Again, the wind industry is over here as well. As you can see, pylons, all these pylons being stored over here and over here. And there's even some assembly going on over here. So these things over here, these platforms, they are. This truss structure juts out of the water, or perhaps the pylon that's on top of the truss juts out of the water, and then you get this weird platform thing, and that's what you can see over here. So this is pretty interesting. I believe that this is the place where the cable actually goes down and into the water. And what you can see is that they have these individual components laid out over here. You see those yellow, I don't know, it's also a pylon kind of thing. You have these lids over here, you have the pylon, you have the platform, these rings and all these stuff. So basically it looks like this is an assembly line for these contraptions over here. Pretty interesting stuff. And then you can see more pylons loaded up. I mean, let's just think. I mean, these look all the same and these look all the same. Well, these are different from them. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 windmills that lie in this row alone. I can't tell which ones are different and which ones are the same, except for this row. This row is pretty homogeneous. So I can with certainty say that there's the number of windmills over here. But the interesting bit about this Gijon area is, first of all, aluminium, right? So here you can see an aluminium factory. Aluminium factories use a lot of electricity. Basically, what you get is you get these electrolytic baths, right? Um, and you dump the aluminium ore in there. Obviously, it has already been purified to a high degree, but you really want to make pure aluminium. So you use a current to heat up this stuff and to pull the aluminium to one end of this bath, basically, and that's how you can extract the aluminium. But that costs a lot of electricity. So in a lot of places, what you see is either your aluminium factories right next to the power plant, because it needs such high volumes of power that it pays off to be right next to the power plant, or they have their own switch yard through which they get a lot of electricity. So the other interesting bit over here is this is a zinc factory over here. Zinc, another piece of heavy industry with their own conveyor belt system. So there's probably zinc ore or something like that being stored in here, and then the conveyor belt basically feeds it into the system that refines the zinc. Over here, this is a glass factory, right? Securit. And then over here, this really gets juicy. Steel, huge steel industry, right? I mean, it's massive. Steel industry. It is kilometers long. ArcelorMittal, right? So a huge steel factory. I don't know if it's still active, but it's huge. It's enormous. You can still see product over here, right? So these are these rolls. So you get if you make a sheet of metal, you can roll it up, and that's what you see stored over here. Rows and rows and rows of sheets, you know, of metal being stored at that site. Huge facility, as you can see. It's enormous. So what wonders me is that you don't see a lot of power plants in this neighborhood, and that's really strange. Does this mean that I'm incorrect? That the wind industry is going to power these things, or have the Spaniards invested in a lot of transmission lines that they can carry this power over long distances and basically produce it elsewhere? Because over here, what you can see is, for instance, here you have two gas plants, right? These are the newer type gas plants. So the basically the turbines. These are the gas turbine electricity producers. And then over here you can see a coal-fired power plant. Now, if this one is still operational. So you can see all this coal stored over here, the black stuff that is coal, obviously. Then you get the conveyor belt system. The conveyor belt system moves up, moves up, moves up, moves up. Then over here you have the boiler room. So it's a large boiler, large room, and it's surrounded by water pipes. So what happens is you burn the coal. The coal heats the water up, and then it wants to flash the steam, but it can't because it's pressurized. And what they do in these, if this is a modern coal boiler, what they do is they reheat this water a couple of times until you get supercritical steam. And then with this supercritical steam, you can create electricity. And you can see over here, this rectangular building is probably the building where the power conversion system is installed. So you have a couple of turbines, you have a shaft running through them. So these turbines turn the steam into rotational energy, and this shaft then goes into a generator where you have a lot of magnets and copper wiring, and that's how you produce electricity. So the electricity comes out of this plant probably over here on this end, then goes into the switch yard over here, and that's how the electricity gets transported all the way north to this area of heavy industry. Now, the interesting bit is this is the western part. Obviously, this is not called Gijon, but I consider it as being part of this larger industrial area. So what you get over here, very interesting, is it's not just a coal terminal. So you can see over here red stuff or red brownish stuff. You can see the white stuff over here. You can see black stuff over here. So you have cokes, you have coal, you have lime, you've got iron ore. That's probably what you see over here. And what you get as well is this again a conveyor system because you want to move all the stuff using conveyor belts. Over here you have the same black stuff, white stuff. So it's coal, cokes, and it's lime. And what you then get so over here, uh, this is where you can make cement because you can make cement out of lime. But over here you have a coal-fired power plant. This one is pretty big. I probably would guess that this is somewhere around a gigawatt, for instance. So the coal gets fed into this boiler building over here. This is interesting. These things that you see over here are air filtration systems, because with increasing environmental regulations, what you get is that you need to clean up whatever comes out of the chimney over here. So here you have the chimney. You have to get, for instance, the sulfurs out because you don't want to have acid rain. So this is where you get the sulfur out and some other toxins. But in the end, the stuff that comes out still is dirty as hell. But in the end, the stuff that comes out is still as dirty as hell. But the interesting bit is it keeps going, and then you get over here again the red stuff and the brownish stuff. Iron ore. So over here, this is the true steel factory in Gijon, right? So the reason why you need limestone or lime, yeah, the reason why you need limestone is to flux. You have this, you put all this iron ore in, and you need to get a lot of the impurities out, and you use the limestone in order to get the impurities out. So this is pretty interesting. A huge steel factory over here. I'm always looking for a gas plant. I didn't find it yet because what you get is syngas, right? You get carbon monoxide, and you can add hydrogen gas to that. And if you add hydrogen gas to that, you can burn it for electricity. So there should be one over here. You get these cylindrical containers where this stuff is being stored, and then somewhere in the neighborhood you should see a gas plant, but I can't find it for some reason. But enough of that. Let's look at some of the things that they are doing good in Spain. So over here, what you can see is they are breaking down coal-fired power plants. This one is being decommissioned as we speak, and they have a load of these coal plants that are being decommissioned over here. This one, right? You can see it's almost gone entirely. By the way, I'm wondering, why did they build this coal-fired power plant in the Spanish boonies? Because there's nothing here. It's literally nothing but mountains here. Maybe they really, really needed a coal-fired power plant in this place. Maybe it's where the coal came out of the ground. I don't know. But it doesn't make any sense to me to build these coal-fired power plants out in the boonies. This looks like a mine. Was it? Yeah. This used to be okay. So this used to be an open pit coal mine. So that's probably the reason why there used to be a coal-fired power plant out in the boonies. And over here, the same thing. This used to be a coal-fired power plant as well. And over here, you can see the boiler is already being demolished. This one is still. The chimney is over here. The air filtration system is over here. We can see. I believe that. Yeah, they're clearly taking it apart, as you can see. But enough of this stuff. Let's first get a look at the nuclear stuff, because that's why you are here. That's why I am here, and that's what I really want to show you. So this over here is it's a pretty much finished nuclear power plant. It looks like it was built by Westinghouse, if you ask me. But it was never ever started up. Lemonis. I don't know how to pronounce this in Spain. Lemonis. I don't know. But for some reason they made a moratorium on new nuclear power, and they had this nearly finished one sitting there, and they never started it. And as you can see, well, this is a pretty interesting look. Something that you don't get to see very often. I believe that what you see over here, this over here is the place where the first turbine used to be. So the first turbine doesn't need to be very big. So once the first turbine gets the hottest steam, the steam with the most energy in it. So this extracts like, I don't know, 60 or 70% of all the energy out of the steam. Then the steam exits this small turbine and goes into a bigger turbine. And that one extracts like 10% of all the energy that it can extract. Then it goes out of that turbine, it goes into this turbine, and then it extracts another, 5% of the electricity that can be extracted. And down here, below those turbines is where the condensers are. That's basically where you again turn your steam back into liquid water, which then gets fed back into the steam generator that's inside this building over here. And I believe that this final bit over here, this is where the generator used to be. It can also, I believe, I believe that this is correct. Yeah. So the electricity would have come out of this generator over here, and it would have gone into a switch yard over here. This was probably meant to be a switch yard, and over here you can see a power pylon. So this is really one of those what would you call it? Crimes against humanity, to build a thing up as well as this is and then not finish it. I mean, it's just so frustrating. I really want to visit this place just to see what it looks like today, because this looks like a very rocky coast, and they basically excavated a lot of rock in order to make place for this nuclear power plant, and then they put up this beautiful nuclear power plant, and they never started it. Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Then over here, I believe that this used to be the boiling water reactor that they had. Let's see if I can see what the name is. Santa Maria de Garona, 460 megawatts. This really looks like a General Electric boiling water reactor, if you ask me. Um, you know, so over here, this is the reactor building. Then over here, this is the generator building. This is where the power conversion equipment used to be. The generators that I just showed you, the turbines, and then over here, electricity would exit the building, go through these transformers into the switchyard, and then basically distribute it into the world. This is also interesting. So over here, you can see they are storing spent nuclear fuel in dry casks. So over here, you have the the cart. It's not a cart. It's really big and strong because it can hoist a couple of tons. This is, but let's just call it the cart. This is the cart that takes the spent nuclear fuel, basically drives it out here, and then onto this pad where it is stored for a long time. So this is a sad place. 460 megawatts, basically gone. Then over here, we have two pressurized water reactors. Yeah, if you ask me, these look like Westinghouse reactors. I didn't research this, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But this really looks like Westinghouse to me. Pressurized water reactors. I believe that this is 2.1 gigawatts, right? ASCO 2.1 gigawatts. Let's see. Here they have spent nuclear fuel as well, as you can see, stored on a pad. Here's the switch yard, taking the electricity out. And they have these forced cooling stacks over here. But it's weird. There's also a conventional cooling tower over here. I wonder how this cooling system worked, because it looks very intricate, because the condenser is over here and the condenser is over here. So this means that cooled off water has to come here, gets heated up, then goes. I don't know how it goes. But it looks like an interesting system. It looks like they are cooling the water off before they are discharging it into the river. That would be good practice if you ask me. I think that should be a feature on every new reactor in the world. So over here, One pressurized water reactor. This clearly, this is the like this really looks a little bit like the containment building of Diablo Canyon and I believe Indian Point. Yeah. So over here you have these. I don't know what this does. Whether here it's electrical equipment that comes up, or whether it is water. It's like a feed system that makes sure that you can cool off equipment in case of an emergency or something like that. But over here, I mean, it's so awesome. I could say the same thing over and over again, right? I mean, the nuclear island, and then over here you have the generator again, and then over here the switch yard. I wonder what all these containers are for. All these things. I don't know. And over here you can see this is the discharge of the cooling water that was used. I wonder what this is. This looks like a switchyard as well. This is a really intricate place, if you ask me. Really intricate. I don't know what the Spaniards were doing making such intricate nuclear power plants. I like it. I like it a lot. I would love to have a tour and somebody explain me why there's so many of these. I don't know whether it is water storage or whether it is oil storage for, emergency generators or something like that. I don't know. It looks like this over here is like the building where the emergency generator is, because many of these plants have emergency diesel generators and such. And then over here you can see two contemporary gas fired power plants. So the question is, what do we prefer? Do we prefer this or do we prefer this? I'm clear. Oh, by the way, this is also interesting. It looks like there used to be another nuclear power plant over here. And this looks like the nuclear island that used to be there. Vandalos 1. Let's see. And is this then Vandalos 2? Yes. Okay, so there used to be two plants over here. And this makes me both proud and sad at the same time. Many people say, "Oh, listen, if you put up a nuclear power plant, you can never get rid of it." But in this case, you can clearly see if you want to get rid of your nuclear power plant, you can. You can really demolish it if you want. Then over here we get Trillo. Trillo. This one clearly looks like a German nuclear power plant. This one has this one looks a lot like the power plant that is in Gronde, Brockdorf, very much like a German nuclear power plant. So I wonder who built it. The Dutch nuclear power plant also has some features that looks like this, with the external crane and everything. I always wondered why these things are here. That's something like emergency. Uh, you know, uh, uh, I always wondered what these things are for. Like emergency, whatever. So this one over here has two natural convection cooling towers. So yeah, these are pretty interesting. I wonder why they have these pools over here. Whether that is some intermediary water storage. There's also these cooling stacks over here. Really intricate designs. These nuclear power plants in Spain. Perhaps this is the place where they store the spent nuclear fuel, because I have yet to see a spent nuclear fuel pad somewhere. But this thing is complex, man. Really complex. Really complex. So we're nearly done. We're nearly done. So over here, this was that beautiful nuclear power plant. It was completely demolished. This one over here. So as you can see, they're in the process of completely demolishing it. If you ask me, this would be the place where I would build a new nuclear power plant. And over here, you have the spent nuclear fuel. And I believe that the last one that we're going to see is Almaraz. Yeah, so first, let's first look at the one that was decommissioned. So let's look at these two. I believe that these two were never finished, as you can see. Pretty interesting. You can see over here, this is the place where the reactor used to be, or where the reactor would be installed. And over here, these spots are the places where the steam generators would have been installed. Very interesting to see. Also very sad. Again, why do we waste these opportunities? Why do we stop constructing these beautiful power stations that can power millions of homes and big factories with zero emissions? I don't get it. I really don't get it. So what you do is you build solar power. You build a lot of solar cells right next to the nuclear power plant that you never finished, and then a load of people walk here and say, "See, solar is much more successful than nuclear is. Look, they didn't even build it. They didn't even finish it." It's a crime against humanity not to finish those things. So we're going to cap it off with Almaraz, right? Let's see, Almaraz. This here is the oldest nuclear power plant in operation in Spain. And this one is the one that they want to close in 2027. So 2 years from now. So the time is now to stage protests, to go into the streets, and to demand that they stop this madness. Because obviously these are two beautiful nuclear power plants. People may disagree with me. I think that these things are beautiful, just for the mere fact that it offers the best jobs that you can have in the electricity world, in the electricity production world. They produce massive quantities of electricity, because this one over here is 2.1 gigawatts as well. So two units that are more than 1 gigawatt. And these, even though this looks like a very complex operation, the product that comes out is pure. And, it is worth doing this well. Now, the interesting bit that about this nuclear power plant is that they have their own dam. So there's a dam over here, as you can see, right? They have a dam over here. I do believe that this one produces power as well. There is a lot of cooling capacity installed right next to the dam. So why wouldn't it produce power? But in essence, I mean, if you need sufficient quantities of water, just build it right next to a reservoir. Some people would argue that a dam could break. That's true. That's true. So let's see. Is there like an emergency cooling pond? That's probably what this is over here. That's like their emergency water supply. They have their own little dam. And then over here, this is interesting as well. Look, it is built like a fort. It looks like a fort. This is like, oh, you really are not allowed to touch our spent nuclear fuel. God forbid. If you come near our spent nuclear fuel, we're going to build this massive fortified structure surrounding it in order to make sure that nobody picks it up and runs away with it. I'm being ironic. I hope that you get that. In any case, I think that these people are absolutely right. Um, killing Almaraz is ridiculous. This plant over here easily can run for another 20 years with some tender loving and with some tender loving care. So come on, Spain, grow up, grow a pair of proverbial cojones. I'm not Spanish, I'm Dutch, so I can't pronounce that stuff correctly. I'm sorry. And save these nuclear power plants. And if you're really smart, start thinking about how to get rid of natural gas by building more nuclear power plants. Westinghouse is ready to build more AP1000s, the nuclear company. GE Hitachi is chomping at the bit because they want to build X300s. Then there's, I believe it's Atkins Reales. They want to build Monarch reactors. France, EDF wants to build EPRs. I am a betting man. I'm not a betting man, but I am willing to bet that if Spain were to contact Westinghouse, EDF, Capco, Atkins Reales, GE Hitachi, Rolls Royce, you name it, that these companies would be thrilled at the possibility, the potential of building new nuclear power plants in Spain, because you need many more. You need many more. It's clear as day. Wind and solar are not going to power your civilization forever. Dark doldrums. Fortunately, Spain has very little of those. So wind and solar don't bail out all the time like they do here. But getting rid of your natural gas can easily be done using nuclear. Easily. Easily. And it's really worth the effort. So with that, you've made it to the end of this video. Please leave a like if you liked the video. If you want to see more of this, press the if you want to see more of this, if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, please press the subscribe button. And if you want to support me financially, please consider becoming a Patreon member and donate a little money. Thank you all for watching. May the strong force be with you. Bye-bye.